Season 3, Zone 5 is finally here, and with our allies and enemies, we are going to try to have some fun, right? We will be allied with K112. We will gonna be fighting against GPX and Seal, and hopefully the fights will be fun. Of course, whenever all the roads will be connected and everybody will be building the towers near the dragon, I will turn on the stream to live stream that amazing occasion, because we're gonna try to win this KVK, right? So until then, you can see we have some small skirmishes, which is always fun whenever you are fighting in Zone 5, right? Our allies are defending and our next enemy is just targeting us to intercept our healing, right? And hopefully this fight will be fun because we have infantry players closer to us, and it means as an archer player this should be really fun, because we have people who are going to defend us whenever we are going to deal damage, right? So far, let's the fighting begin, and hopefully we are going to get a lot of merits, but most important is always to win the fights, right? Zone 5 is amazing. Not every single KVK in every single alliance will try to fight for the dragon, but hopefully whenever we're gonna connect the towers, we will be for sure fighting for it, right? Because the newest dragon, which is the dark themed dragon, looks absolutely amazing, and in my opinion, like, it's a first dragon which we have in season 3, and hopefully we will be the alliance who will take it, right? Of course, fighting will be long. I will try to use my elixir, I will try to use my resource healing, because I have saved everything for the Zone 5 fights, right? And actually, as a tier 4 player fighting against mainly tier 5 players, I think I'm really happy with my results, how fun and how well I'm fighting against stronger enemies, right? I'm having more than 5 million merits already, and Zone 5 just started, right? That's a big occasion, and hopefully, well, I'm not really sure if I'm gonna get 12 million merits, but of course I will try. It will be super hard, but it not only depends on me, right? It also depends on our enemy, how long the fights will be there, and of course plus how successful fights will be for my alliance, right? Because if the alliance is winning, I think generally you are getting way more merits than you are losing, right? The winning mentality and winning ways is always generating more merits, because you are defeating more enemies, that's one, and you are progressing through adding and killing more and more units while you are not dying. Generally, when I say that surviving fights will get you more merit than just dealing damage, I actually mean that. I think that surviving fights are more important than being a number 1 damage dealer, right? Because doesn't really matter how much damage you actually deal, if you are going to die super fast, I'm sorry, you won't gonna get a lot of merits, right? Because, well, this is a game where you can strategize around the battlefield. That's why we have a different type of troop types, because, like, for example, if you are playing archer without infantry defending you, you basically won't gonna do a lot of things, right? Because you need to save ground, you need to stand still and attack. Well, if you are playing mages, it's more safer for you actually, because you have a high range, you don't need to be more cautious, you can deal damage from the distance, right? That's another way. But for archers, especially when you are playing without long range warfare, I think your main priority should be whoever is close to you. That should be the choice. And hopefully, guys, whenever I'm taking videos, that's the main motivation, right? I'm sharing my ideas, I'm sharing the ways how I like to fight, and whenever I'm getting good merits and whenever I'm seeing that I'm actually progressing really well in the game, that's the reason why I want to share, especially for free-to-play players, especially for low spenders, that the game can be played even without spending in the game, right? So, like, for example, so far you can always see myself in you, right? I'm a tier 4 player fighting against mainly tier 5 players, which means every single time they are touching me, I'm losing more and more troops, right? And basically this is the reason why you should play more defensive rather than more offensive, especially if you are tier 4 player. I think I will just try to be more defensive here. I'm waiting for my infantry players to move up, because if I'm gonna move up right here, I have lower range than my mages, and it will be super hard for me to actually even deal damage, right? That's the way you are playing the game, especially during wars. It's not really about who deals most damage, it's about who can survive longer, right? So basically, because of the reason why that we were small amount of members here and we have less amount of infantry, it was really rough. But hopefully now we're gonna get our infantry back, and well, this is always how fights are happening. You kinda have to have infantry in order to push. Right now I can see like 4 or 5 infantry players from my side, then actually like I will be more than glad to push and deal damage, right? Without my infantries on my side here, it would not be possible for me to deal any damage with my heroes. This is the way I think you should be playing around with your alliance members. That's why I'm saying like almost all the time that like alliance members and alliances are one of the most important and most fun group of people with whom you can actually have a lot of fun playing Call of Dragons, right? You could see without my infantry here I could have done absolutely nothing. I had no safety to deal damage, and plus when you have infantry you can actually deal damage to backline, right? Unfortunately, our infantry is not surviving for a long time, but still I think this is just the beginning of the big fight which going to happen in the Zone 5 with the Dragon available. And yeah, it's great that every single alliance which are in our KVK is actually going to fight. It actually means a lot, right? It doesn't really matter how much you want to fight. If your enemy is not showing up, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have a lot of problems fighting in general, right? Because without enemy, you won't gonna participate because you're gonna be there alone. And trust me, guys, I had a lot of KVKs when the Zone 5 started. Then there was only one alliance who just took the dragon, and that's it, GG's, right? I'm pretty confident that we are going to push them back here for a simple fact that our like cities are really close and our infantry will be able to refill and push again, right? That's the sole reason why I feel like that they will be pushed back. Plus, I think none of our members have used the Race of Remedy. That might be the case from their side, but yeah, I guess whoever turns on Race of Remedy will deal more damage, will survive longer. This is normality because the amount of kills you are actually getting whenever you have Race of Remedy, that's absolutely amazing. So that's what I actually said. Slowly they gonna go down because our infantries will actually refill their troops way faster, and it will be enough for us to just push them back. That's the sole reason why I think pushing outside of your towns too much is worthless, because you're just gonna die, right? You're just gonna die. But in our case, enemy did the same mistake, which I think every single alliance have done it in the past. But that's good. I think like small skirmishes until the big fight will happen is always great to see. Like I think most important is that they are actually fighting and not being AFK, right? Yeah, I'm gonna survive here. Yeah, slowly you can see they are losing one by one members because of our infantry refilling their legions, and slowly we will be able to push them back. Hopefully we will get the yellow merits from every single legion. That should be the like priority in my opinion, because we are actually fighting against tier 5 players, and I'm not really looking that I'm gonna get like 20 or 25k merits or like 45k merits. Yes, well, whenever we're gonna have a Race of Remedy turned on, that's the expectations, but without Race of Remedy I think our job is to survive longer than just to go for merits, because of course as a tier 4 we won't gonna deal too much damage. That's like not a reality, right? Just try to be available, try to be there. Even if enemy will target you, just move back so your tier 5 players will deal damage. They are actually the main damage dealers from your alliance, so basically that's the way I'm playing the game, right? That's another reason actually why I'm using Tara and Indies, because my Tara and Indies will not only buff me, but they will buff also my alliance members, which are actually dealing way more damage than I will ever do until I'm tier 4 player. I think this fight is pretty fun. It's a small skirmish until the real fight will happen. Of course, I'm expecting that Magot and Zaida will have the highest amount of merits out of all of 3. But every single march in my troops have these like different ideas, different jobs. Like for example, Kinara's job is to cancel enemies' artifact to be more of a tanky Ara's job is to be semi-tank, buffer and debuffer and healer. And Magrot and Zaida's job is to basically just deal damage. That's the only job this like amazing March has in my stream March. I'm trying my best to buff my Magrot and Zaida in a way that until I'm tier 5 it will feel like I'm a until I'm tier 4 it will be feeling like I'm a tier 5 player, right? So basically all these buffs which this game is giving us so far slowly by the adding a lot of support, like in general support gameplay heroes, I think us players should be utilizing those buffs, especially a tier 4 player, because trust me, it feels amazing when you are a tier 4 player, you are buffing your like tier 5s with Indecent Ara, and they are dealing more and more damage. So my prophecy was right. Slowly we would be pushing them back, which was really obvious, right? It was all about infantry gameplay. It was all about like how soon our infantries will be able to refill. And yeah, I have never had the questions regarding my mages, because like in our alliance we have way more mage mains than anything else, and I know their troops, I know how much heroes they have awakened, and I have seen how well they fight. So I have never questioned our mage damage. Only thing which sometimes is questionable from our side is infantries, and yeah, whenever I saw a couple of infantry players moving around the battlefield, I knew that all I needed to do is to just survive, because whenever my infantry would refill their legions, I would have free time dealing damage to these enemies, right? And as I expected, most damage which we can deal to these people is from Magrot and Zaida, and I think Magrot and Zaida will be the only yellow merits which we can get from this tier 5 fight. That's not a big deal. Well, soon I think as fast as we're gonna connect the towers to closer to Dragon, I will be turning on the stream, and I will try to showcase these amazing fights which is going to happen in near future. I think it will be like 1 or 2 hours maximum, in my opinion, and hopefully the fights will be long and I will be able to stream for a long time. Yeah, that's the last push, because we want to kick them out of our territory. We want to build our towers safely, and I think, well, the amount of merits we got from, especially from Magrot and Zaida, is good enough in my opinion to just be satisfied, right? Like whenever I'm getting more than 10k from Indecent Ara, that's already fine, because like main job is not to deal damage, main job is to always try to heal and be a semi-tank, because Magrot and Zaida should have a tank like closer to them in order for them to deal damage. Well, our main damage dealer is actually done, but simple reason, because the enemy is really low HP, I'm just going to continue to deal more damage. Plus we have Heart of Kamasi, we can buff our ally members who will deal way more damage than we are going to do here, and yeah, that's good, right? That's good. It was kinda obvious that we would push them back. And yeah, I think it's kind of time for us to check merits and to see how well we actually performed, right? And I think the performance was fine. Well, like whenever I can survive for at least 10 or 15 minutes during the fights against tier 5 players, I'm always satisfied with that result. So as soon as this Kogul will go down, I will be able to check my merits, right? At first, let's go and let's check the hospital, because my hospital was empty whenever I started the fight. Yeah, that's the amount of severely wounded units we got. Let's just heal. And yeah, that's the most important. 23k merits, right? 23k merits from Magrot and Zaida against tier 5 players. Of course, it was a rough fight because we got targeted for quite a lot of times. Generally, I like to fight when like I never almost get targeted as a tier 4 player. But basically, here our main job was to survive, and I think we did that, right? I was not even expecting to get more than like 50k merits, as like even from my Magrot and Zaida, but I think this is really fine, right? Nico and Kinara did its job. Unfortunately, low amount of severely wounded from their side, but that's the reason, because like Nico and Kinara got targeted really easily. A simple reason is that Rattle Spear, whenever you're gonna use skill of the Rattle Spear, you are just standing still and not really moving, so that's always a free target for our enemies. And yeah, in this era, a lot of heals, lot of buffs. I'm pretty sure this in this era gave our tier 5 players lot of buffs in this Infirmed era Keen, which is attack damage. So I think Indecent era is viable, but generally, if you want to ask me, the most OP hero in the season 3 is Musyang. So guys, if you want to decide where you want to put your legendary tokens, that's Musyang. So basically that's it for like Zone 5 first fight. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna turn on the stream really soon, and if you all like the video, as always, press like, subscribe, share. It always gives me more and more motivation to make more content for this game. I wish everybody amazing day, morning and night. We are going to see each other really soon. Bye bye and good luck.